What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about Doctor Who Season 2, Episode 8, Reality War. This is the finale of Season 2. Spoiler alert if you have not seen the Reality War. Big spoilers ahead. I've said that every week, but for reals this time, big spoilers. Billie Piper is the Doctor? I know a lot of people online are already saying that she's not the Doctor because it says at the end, Ncuti Gatwa, the Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, the Doctor, and then it just says introducing Billie Piper. That's so fun. I don't know what that means. My theory of why, why the Doctor chose that face is that maybe because putting that much regeneration energy into the TARDIS made him pick the face of the last person that did that. I don't know. That's my only wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey theory I got there. I know it ultimately doesn't matter why they chose the face. There probably is a story reason why, but, I'm just, I love Billie Piper, and even if it's just like a Christmas special with her as the Doctor, and then we get another regeneration and we move on, I'll be happy. That's cool. That really excited me. But yeah, but Doctor Who's really in its Marvel era, huh? Right? I mean, they're bringing back long gone actors like David Tennant and Rose. Although I loved it this episode when Ncuti kind of made a little jab at David Tennant always returning.
I'm surprised it's not the other guy. He is always turning up.
But all right, let's get into the episode now. We're gonna go beat by beat, and we'll try to explain some shit. So it opens up with the Doctor falling from last week, with the Ronnie and all that stuff. He's fallen down. Poppy is real. Oh my god, what's gonna go? Oh, he wakes up. It's fine. Every time the clock reaches midnight, it clicks back to May the 23rd at 7 a.m. and it just keeps resetting and resetting and resetting. It's kind of like a Groundhog's Day, except the Ronnie is just trying to break reality so that way Omega can come out and apparently just come out and eat her. She had no contingency plans except for that she biogenerated so Mrs. Flood can fuck off and go away. She had nothing. We're gonna rebuild Gallifrey. The Time Lords are back. Oh fuck, I'm getting eaten. Oh shit, Omega's eating me. Oh boy. It was just that was kind of odd, but whatever, that's where we're at. Anita pops up. This is our first big whoa moment of the episode. Anita pops up. So as the Doctor is falling, Anita opens a door, saves him through it. She knows about Time Lords and all kinds of other shit. This is basically like their Marvel Sparkle Circle, the Doctor, the Doctor Strange little circle to make people come. This is like the Doctor Who version of that, except you got a little door that Anita can open through the Time Hotel, which is pretty neat. I like it. It was kind of like the watch Captain Jack had. It's just another way to time travel. But yeah, the Doctor's a little surprised. She knows about Time Lords and a lot of this other shit. Apparently in her spare time, she just pops into other doctors and, sees what they're doing. She saw the third Doctor. She saw Matt Smith. And then she saw Ncuti with Rogue. And she's pregnant. That never really came of anything, but she's pregnant. That's interesting. I also thought it was kind of funny that because Mrs. Flood took Christmas off and we only saw her at the end of the episode, like giving us a hint towards season 2, that she didn't know about Anita. So this was all kind of a surprise to them. And this kind of is what foiled their plan, is that she wasn't doing her job every day. She wasn't there on Christmas to watch the Doctor do the Time Hotel shit, so she wasn't able to plant some seeds in there and fuck up this. Which, I mean, fucking, how'd you miss that, Mrs. Flood? Or Ronnie, whatever you want to be called. After that, Anita opens a door to Poppy's bedroom, and Poppy is real. They keep bringing up all this episode. Poppy's real. She's impossible to be real, blah, blah, blah. It's a little, I gotta be honest, it was a little annoying because they were overly acting like it was a crazy thing, and then it ultimately wasn't that crazy. But so she opens the door to Poppy's room. Anita says that Poppy isn't real, and the Doctor gets very defensive, and he kind of explains why a little bit there, but not really. So the Doctor, after that, he's going downstairs, has a fucking sick outfit change. That was a good outfit change. He ends up taking Poppy and Belinda over to the Time Hotel, and that clears their mind and they're normal. I mean, I don't know about Poppy. We never really get to hear from Poppy, but Belinda is normal. And by normal, I just mean she has her thoughts, because she's actually not normal until the very end of the episode, which is confusing, but you know what I mean? They also mention this. They keep saying Poppy is real and that they had a baby in a single day, and then they open a door to Unit and they go talk to Unit, and they even introduce Poppy to Unit as their baby. This part was very wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey. I also like that they even referenced that with Jodie, and she's like, is that still going? Oh, yeah. Through a bunch of wibbly-wobbliness, they open the doors from the Time Hotel. It goes into Unit, clearing everybody's minds in there to be able to think and help defeat the Ronnie. Kate has a button. She hits a button that apparently they've implanted a little thing into everybody that works at Unit, so it beeps off on everybody and it ends up, clearing their minds as well. Feels like maybe there should be a fail-safe that if something goes wrong, those just go off and do that. It's weird that they don't. The Ronnie asks Conrad to search for the Doctor in his mind because he holds the wish in his head, so he's searching for the Doctor in there. And then what's funny is that doesn't even matter now that I think about that. I don't think he even finds the Doctor, and that doesn't even matter. We're skipping a little bit here. Apparently to survive Gallifrey, the Ronnie flipped a switch with her DNA and ended up escaping and used a time ring to get to Earth. This stuff here too, it just kind of feels like, why even mention this if we're gonna get a kind of silly answer like that? A lot of that is to me, I just hear wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. That's why I always mention it like that in my notes because it's just like, oh, okay, she survived because we wanted her to survive in the show. I gotcha. But Mrs. Flood, I was hoping for more here. Mrs. Flood reveals to Belinda and Ruby, she pops out as like, oh, we are the Ronnie, and then they're like, holy shit, you're my neighbor, and we're gonna get more. Like, she's kind of revealing her plan. She's like, yeah, we were very meticulous, making everything come to May the 24th, and then the Ronnie just sends her away, hits a little button, and she literally disappears. So, majority of the stuff like that in this episode, I gotta be honest, I was very disappointed in. They kept saying everything will make sense. This was bought as a 2-part season. Season 1 was Ruby, 2 Belinda, it'll all make sense in the end, and it kinda doesn't. The Ronnie's plan is to construct a new Gallifrey with Omega's body. She's trying to kind of get the Doctor on board, and the other people just kind of like, let me do this, and then I'll fuck off, and you guys can be cool, we'll have Gallifrey, it'll be nice. But the key is, once they do that, it'll end the wish, making Poppy not exist, and the Doctor and Belinda can't have that. This is also very interesting. The Time Lords are sterile species. They're biologically a dead end, they say.
The species is barren. We're a biological dead end.
Which I think the Doctor's mom would disagree, but... They keep saying shit like that. The Doctor doesn't have a daughter, all this stuff. We literally saw Susan this season, his granddaughter. Jenny, his daughter from the previous incarnation of Russell T Davies, run at Doctor Who. I just don't understand the weird, what we're going at here with this. It just feels odd. Like, we're just forgetting a lot of that, it seems like. They also explain bi-generation here a little bit. They say that bi-generation is just like the Time Lord race life force trying to survive, I guess is an explanation. Why didn't it try that before? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Maybe someone can explain that to me down in the comments below, but that was another eye roll moment where I was like, oh, you said we get an explanation for that, and we didn't. The Ronnie can't use Poppy for her experiment. They bring that up instead of Omega use Poppy. She's right here, but they can't because she's contaminated. She's part human, part Time Lord, which really, for me, made me think, oh, we are getting more of the Timeless Child here. Poppy's gonna end up going, like, through a portal or something, end up where the Doctor is left in the Timeless Child, and it's gonna be a whole full circle moment, but that didn't happen. That actually, it really surprised me that didn't happen, and maybe that's where this is all leading with Poppy. Maybe that's where she disappeared to. I totally thought that's where we were going, especially with the Ronnie and the experiments and how Tech-Tayun experimented on the Doctor. It felt like that was all leading there. The Doctor has a magical golden box that Susan Triad made. It can contain the Wish World, everything going on in here, so it'll keep Poppy real and it'll keep Belinda safe. So they put Poppy and Belinda in there, and Belinda knows that if everything goes wrong, she's just trapped in there for eternity. She won't starve, she won't anything, she will just be living in there. The Doctor also says here, right when they're closing the door, that he was meant to meet Belinda and create Poppy for that moment, which is another, like, after getting to the end, you're like, no, you weren't. That was her baby. Like, a lot of the Poppy being his baby stuff just feels very odd once you get to the ending. Ruby has the Indigo device, so that's, like, the Doctor hacked Mrs. Flood's thing when they did their sonic screwdrivers at each other, so he's getting her little, I don't know, floating scooter, whatever you want to call it. He scooters into Mrs. Flood and the Ronnie's base, while Ruby does a little button and teleports to Conrad. The Doctor crashes through the Ronnie's little window area, lands in there with them. That breaks the threshold, letting Ruby go into where Conrad's at. This part I was very curious about. I thought this was going to lead to such a bigger thing as well, but Mrs. Flood and the Ronnie are kind of like teasing the Doctor, being like, don't you want to like bring back the Time Lords? Come on, it's just us here. Like, don't you want to see Omega? Don't you want to do all this? And the Doctor's like, yeah, actually I do. They do a little chant, they open the door, they release Omega, and then Omega eats the Ronnie. Omega eats the Ronnie, Mrs. Flood just fucks off, teleports and gets out of there, and then the Doctor uses the Vindicator, he backs up into it, uses the Vindicator to take down Omega and send him back to hell, back to the little gate, and the gate closes, and Omega's done. That's all we get of Omega, and that's all we get of Mrs. Flood and the Ronnie. They're all done, at least for now. So after all that, Ruby kisses Desiderium and ends up wishing Conrad to be happy. Their whole reality starts crumbling beneath them, because like all that, like the dinosaur bones they're in and all that is just not real anymore, so that's disappearing. The Doctor has a little flashback to the Ronnie talking about his TARDIS and runs to where Conrad was because that room is the TARDIS. The Doctor gets into the TARDIS after, he's fixing some shit. He kisses Desiderium and ends the wish, says no more wishes, which he doesn't know it yet, but that makes Poppy start disappearing, at least for now. Funny enough, the Doctor ends up there, going back to Unit, getting Belinda and Poppy from there. Everything here starts seeming like a happy moment, and like the episode's ending, and I'm kind of like, what the fuck is going on? This is what's happening here? They kept this a secret from everybody, released it at a different time in theaters. Like, what is happening? They're safe, they're getting them on. They take Desiderium, they give him to Ruby's parents, and they start taking care of Desiderium now. They adopted him. His name is Joseph Sunday. They're back in the TARDIS. Things are still very weird. Things are getting even more weird. Ruby's like staring at Belinda and the doctor. Poppy's disappearing, and then her bed disappears, and then they forget who Poppy is, and it's just getting very odd. They end up getting back to Unit. No one at Unit remembers Poppy until Ruby ends up being like, Doctor, this has happened before. Remember when I disappeared because it was goblins? You brought me back. And that kind of like clicks a little thing in his memory. And then everybody kind of starts being like, you saved me, Doctor. You saved me. And they're your children. And I thought that was very odd when Kate was like, yeah, we are. Sometimes I look at all of us here and I think we're your children, Doctor. I get what you're saying there, Kate, but that's a little odd. They're in Unit. Anita says goodbye to the doctor. She's got to get out of here. But then as she's leaving, she says the boss says hi. And he says, oh, okay, I'm going to park that. Like, I'm going to remember that up here. So we still haven't met the boss. Everybody thought Mrs. Flood or the Ronnie was the boss that the Meep brought up in the, with David Tennant. But apparently not. It doesn't seem that way. It's crazy that we're still getting teased at. But that's fun. That is some of the fun shit I love about Russell T Davies' Doctor Who is you might not get a great payoff, but sometimes the teases are very fun. But so basically after they start to remember, the Doctor realizes that to break reality and to get it back to where it really needs to be and get Poppy back, he needs to regenerate and throw all of that energy into the TARDIS. So that way they know that'll break it, reality. And he does that, reality starts breaking, we see mirrors and all this shit. And then he ends up waking up outside of the TARDIS in Belinda's back garden, which very much reminded me of the third Doctor. After the second Doctor goes through the War Games, he just regenerates and you don't really see it. And then the third Doctor's first episode, he's just outside in the grass. And that kind of gave me vibes of that. But before all of that, we got to talk about, he's in the TARDIS thinking about it. Jodie shows up. He has a fucking moment with Jodie Whittaker. That's a very fun moment. I love them together. I could have watched a whole special with those two. I really, really dug that. I like, too, that, he's looking, like, the TARDIS is showing him all the pictures of all of the other doctors. And he's like, what is going on here? And then he sees them all, and he's like, oh, gotta admit, I'm the best. And she's like, you're the best man. I'm the best woman, which we'll see, because by the end of the episode, I think we got the best woman doctor. We haven't even seen her do anything yet, and I can just guarantee she'll be the best woman doctor. I am surprised, though, nothing else with the fugitive doctor. I kind of figured she'd be back in the finale. But that is also where we get him making fun of David Tennant, being like, I thought the other guy was going to pop up. He always does. But so the doctor blasts his regeneration energy into the TARDIS, breaking reality, and he wakes up outside, like I said. Linda walks up to him outside and says Poppy's inside waiting for him. And then we get a very interesting montage / reveal of apparently this whole season has actually been to get Belinda home to Poppy because she needs to watch her because her mom's going to work or going to a concert or whatever. And we get the reveal every single episode after their adventure. She walks in and like mentions Poppy, which is weird because when we were watching it, and I understand reality was broken, especially I think after the robot revolution, where they're falling through space and it's all colorful on their face and sees all of Belinda's life. I think that's what kind of broke it the first time. Now I don't remember what caused that. Maybe that's Mrs. Flood or whatever. But I think that broke it. So we saw her talking about her parents and all that shit. But then when they were in the barber shop and she saw Poppy, I think that was some of her memories slipping through. At least that's kind of how I took it. I gotta be honest, it wasn't greatly explained, but that's kind of how I took it. Is that reality broke in episode 1, so we were seeing the wrong things like the doctor was, so we all didn't understand what was going on. But realistically, she was always going home to Poppy, her daughter. That doesn't explain why Poppy was in Space Babies. They do mention that to Ruby, that was like, that's far away, it's different, whatever, blah, 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 memories mixing, but I don't know. I just don't know. But the doctor does scan Poppy with his sonic, and it does say she's 100% human. And he tells her about basically when he was on Space Babies and he made a wish that he had a daughter just like her. He mentions how the Time Lords can't have kids and all that again. But he has a granddaughter and he has Jenny, and he never goes back to them. And we even got a little tease of Susan this season. Like, where's that going? I have a tease for that at the end. There was an original ending with Susan, and we'll read that at the end. After they have a good little chit-chat, the doctor has to leave. He says, I hope I see you again, but it won't be like this. So hopefully that means when Rose is the doctor, Billy Piper as the doctor, she'll hang out with Ruby and Belinda, maybe. We'll see. But the doctor, he says he doesn't want to regenerate alone. He opens the door, and we see a big star in the sky, which is Joy to the World, Joy from the Christmas special. And he ends up regenerating, and it's fucking Billy Piper. That's literally, I wrote, your holy fucking shit, Rose is the doctor. Billy Piper, that's crazy. But then I did write down my theory, so that's the only explanation I have for why he chose that face, is because that she did that before in Bad Wolf in the finale in season 1 with Christopher Eccleston. That's the only explanation I have, other than it's just fan service. And it's really cool that Russell T Davies started with Rose and will probably end Doctor Who with Rose, so I do like that. But a few things that were not wrapped up were no explanation to the snow in the TARDIS and everywhere they landed with Ruby. We just don't get an explanation from that. Her mom and her dad is still just her mom and her dad, apparently. I thought that was gonna be more. I thought there'd be more than that, but no. And then the biggest one, Susan. Nothing else with Susan. Nothing, which is bullshit. I would have rather have not seen it, to be honest. Damn it, well, I can't find the picture. I can't find the thing I saved for it. But the original ending was the Doctor and Belinda doing something. Maybe saying goodbye, maybe doing something. I can't remember. But Susan was up on the hill behind them watching them. That was the original way it ended. But apparently, all of this at the end in the back garden with Belinda and the Doctor and all that is a reshoot. So I don't know if we will ever get what was going to happen with Susan. I think that was done. I think it was just a little tease, and maybe eventually it'll come back up again. But I kind of think we're done with that for now, unfortunately. I think that was their original plan, and season 3 was going to be the Doctor going out looking for Susan. But now I don't know. Who knows? I mean, maybe Billy Piper will be the one looking for Susan, which that'd be fucking crazy. That'd be really cool, actually. But I don't see that happening. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about this finale. Ultimately, I gotta say, I kind of think it was a letdown. I enjoyed the season as a whole, and I think this was probably my least favorite episode of the season. These last 2 were probably. Definitely not one of those people that are saying, like, Doctor should be canceled, we need a break, blah, blah, blah. I want it to keep going, and I'd be happy with it continuing this way. This wasn't a horrible finale. It just, and so, a lot of the unit shit and a lot of some of the shit here and there is not my cup of tea, but not everything has to be for me, But yeah, we got one more thing to do on this show. Now we're going to go over to YouTube and watch the trailer for The War Between the Land and the Sea. This is the new spin-off coming out later this year. Fingers crossed it's good. It's written by the same person that wrote the solo Ruby episode this season with Conrad and all that. That episode, I forget what episode that was. Maybe, I think it was 4. It could have been episode 4, I believe. But it's written by that person, so fingers crossed it's good.
The tides have drawn us together.
Oh, I totally forgot it's him.
We could make a difference, you and I.
Now, there are returning actors from Doctor Who in this, but they're not playing the same characters, which is very interesting. You got Alonzo and, her. Wow, I didn't know she was playing the sea creature. Interesting.
For any of this.
Will you trust me, Barclay?
I gotta admit, that looks pretty fun. For a spin-off show that to be completely honest, when it was announced, I could care less about, that doesn't look half bad, to be honest. You got Alonzo from Doctor Who returning, and you have Martha's sister returning. The actor is an actress, not the actual characters. But that's fun. That's really neat. Yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think about The War Between the Land and the Sea. I'm definitely going to be doing videos on that. Obviously, we're not as excited for that as we are for Doctor Who. It'd be cool if the Doctor was in this as well, but, whatever. But yeah, that's going to do it for my review of Doctor Who Season 2 finale. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about the finale, what you think about the Doctor regenerating. Are you excited for Billy Piper? Are you disappointed in that? Let me know. Like I said, I thought ultimately this was a good season. I love it returning to Disney Plus. I think it's only improved since the show previously. I think we can only go up from here, but I gotta be honest, I was a little let down by the end, unfortunately. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out, Girl Scouts.